All of our daughters had sparkle on their faces, and they got their nails painted. They had their finest dresses on. They were so excited because it was Christmas. Well, that night, my wife had lit 8 candles in our living room, and afterwards, we ate the turkey, and then we went and watched Home Alone. Now, my wife and I, after we were done with the festivities, she asked me if I would blow out the candles, and I went around and I blew out all the candles, but we do not open up our gifts on Christmas Eve. We open them up on Christmas Day for 2 reasons. First, that is our family custom, and secondly, we just love to torture our girls. Well, our daughters, they thrashed in their beds all night long. They just couldn't wait. Well, at 7:30 the next morning, I got up and I went for my run, which I normally do Monday through Friday because Christmas Day, after all, fell on a Friday morning. So I got up at 7:30 and I went for my run. I got back after my run with the intention of jumping in the shower and cleaning myself up before we went through the festivities of opening up our Christmas gifts that morning. Well, my youngest daughter, Jasmine, she had been waiting all night long, and there was no way on the face of the planet that she was going to wait one more second, and she was waiting for me at the door when I came home from my run. And so as soon as she saw me, she announced to the entire house, "Dad is home. We're opening up our Christmas gifts." So she took me by the hand, smelly, sweaty daddy and all, and led me into the living room, where I sat down, and over the next hour and a half, we went through the festivities of opening up our Christmas gifts. Well, at about 10 o'clock in the morning, now I can't stand myself. And you know you smell really bad when you can't stand yourself. So I said to the rest of the family, "Stinky Daddy has got to take care of business," and I got up and I went into the shower. And as I got into the shower, I did what I imagine what most of you do when you get into the shower. I turned on the water, and I applied the shampoo, and I applied the soap, and I shaved. If I were a woman, I imagine I would have shaved my legs. And I brushed my teeth, and I rinsed off the shampoo and the soap, and afterwards I turned off the water, I opened the door, I grabbed a towel, and I began to dry myself off. And when I'm about 75% of the way of drying off, I hear the voice of my oldest daughter coming from the living room. "Mom, Dad, get here quick! There's a fire in the living room!" Now, when you hear the word fire, living room, during Christmas time, you imagine that the Christmas tree is ablaze, that there's an inferno waiting for you in the living room. So without thinking twice, I immediately wrap myself in that wet towel, and I go running into my room from the master bathroom, and I head down the hallway, and as I enter into the hallway, I see these huge clouds and mushrooms of smoke coming from the living room into the hallway, and I'm thinking that the place is about to explode. And as soon as I jump into the living room, there were 2 steps and a second living room, and as I jumped into the living room, I noticed that the Christmas tree was perfectly intact. And I began to look for the source of that flame, and I saw over to the right where one of the candle holders that was basically a scones and the garland that was wrapped around it, that garland was on fire, and it was climbing up the wall, and it was about 1.5 feet from touching the curtains. And if it touched the curtains, it's going to take not only the curtains, but it's going to hit that old wood dry ceiling. And I know that the whole house is gone within a matter of seconds. So I run as fast as I can over to that thing, and I began to look for anything that I could use, whatever I could use to extinguish that flame. And then as I looked, I saw a pillow and I saw a cushion, but I thought, oh, I've got a wet towel on. So I ripped that baby off, and I began to pound that flame as hard as I could, and as soon as it was extinguished, I threw down the towel in victory. And there I stood in all of my glory. I turned around and my 3 daughters were looking like this. I thought, man, they're going to need therapy after seeing that. They could see The Exorcist, Lord of the Rings, and no film would ever affect them after seeing Dad do that. But after such a great and wonderful expression of courage, I lifted up my voice and I said, "Ladies, keep your eyes closed because the naked fireman's got to get dressed." And I turned and I walked, sort of like a rooster, back to my room. And I got dressed. And I came back to the living room. And I could smell that horrific smell, that burnt house smell. It is a diabolic smell. And if you've ever smelt that, you'll never forget it. I raised my voice and I said, I want to know which one of you girls has been playing with matches. Someone's been playing with fire in this house. The only fire that was lit was the fire that my wife lit last night when she lit the 8 candles. And after we had our festivities last night, she asked me to blow them out, and I blew them all out. Except that one. Man, how did that get past me? I remember I went around and I blew all of them out. But when I saw that one from a distance, as I came up upon it about, 8 to 10 feet away, it didn't have any light. But just because a candle does not have light does not mean that it's not lit. And that little blue flame that could, well, it did. And it burnt all night long. And at 10:30 in the morning, it split that candle in two and almost burnt down the whole house. Well, the 3 valuable lessons that we can extract from this story. The first, and all 3 of these lessons are so pertinent to businesses, for any individuals, any family, any marriage. It doesn't matter what line of work you have. These 3 lessons can revolutionize your life. The importance of integrity, doing the right thing. We all have these little blue flames, and they can destroy our lives. And we think that we can pretend to the rest of the world that those things won't impact us, or how some way we can manage them and keep them to ourselves, when in fact, they do destroy lives. But second of all, not only do we need to be people of integrity, we need to be people of wisdom. We need to heed the advice of those who call out to us and say, hey, you've got a fire in your life. You need to put that fire out. And thirdly, we need to have the discipline. We need to have the discipline to do what is right and do it at the right moment. Because if you have the heart of integrity to do what is right, the wisdom to make the right choice, and the strength to do it, then you can't help but revolutionize the world. Your life will be revolutionized if you put these 3 things into practice.